Very
exciting.
We are recording it. When you're on a Zoom, do you ever block out your image, or are you staring at yourself constantly?
I don't block out my image, but I don't look at myself. Like, I'm very good at not glancing. I hate looking at myself. Sometimes I'll put a notebook up in front of my screen so I don't see myself. But yeah, no, I actually have my notes right now over the top of my face.
This is a Rachael song. Rachael, you don't look at yourself in a Zoom, Rachael. When the bomb goes off, it's a boom, Rachael. Everybody gets a song. Welcome to Florida Versus. That's the Rachael song. My guest today, Floridians, is the one and only, the Alaskan animator. We'll get into that a little later. The amazing, the very talented, the host worthy, the electrifying, the just spectacular Rachael Sassara.
Wow. I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Rachael.
Who's setting off the bomb in the song? Why is the song that you're singing about me, why does it have a violent act? Explain yourself.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. And I've had a bomb in my head, for a while.
It's a you thing, not a me thing. Just making sure.
Yeah. Also, have you ever seen the 1966 Batman movie with Adam West?
I don't know. Probably not.
It's worth checking out just for that joke.
Okay, great.
Anyhow, here she is, folks. You've heard from her, Rachael, all the way from Alaska. How are you doing on this day? How you been?
I am excellent, and I always have been, Peter. Thank you for asking. How are you?
That's what I like to hear. I'm doing well. Let's see. I'm doing okay. I think we're out of LA winter. Like, you live in LA now, but I feel like we're out of LA winter, or we're pulling out of it.
We are currently in fake LA summer. It's fall summer. It's going to get cold again in April, and then it will be summer in May. That is official. It always happens every year. It's going to rain tomorrow.
No kidding. In Los Angeles?
Yes.
Well, before we get too into it, up top here on the show, we like to do plugs up top. So, Rachael, what can you drive our listeners to that you're producing or a part of, or what should they check out?
Yes. Go listen to my podcast, which is a million times better than this one. It wouldn't, Peter wouldn't have a podcast if it weren't for me starting a podcast. He came to me one day and he said, "What do I do? How do I host a podcast?" And I said, "I'll help you." I mean, we don't have to talk about that right now, but
it's true.
Yeah, go listen to my podcast. It's called Boobs, a podcast. You can find it anywhere where you listen to podcasts. Boobs. It's just a podcast. It's a couple of boobs. BOOBS. It's me and my best friend, Michael Guggenheim. We host a show. We have an episode come out every Friday. Ooh. And it is a comedy podcast. It is good times for all. You can follow us. We have an Instagram called @MikeyGuggenheim. Where you can, we have an Instagram. It's the brand. The brand is Mikey. Okay. So you can follow us there, and we post about our podcast. And we also have a, animated movie that we're working on right now, a short called A Very Vaginismus Christmas. And it is a wonderful Christmas story about vaginismus, which is a super fun condition where you cannot have sex. So it's very exciting. And I know you're like, it doesn't sound very Christmas at all, but it is. And we're hoping to have it out soon, so you can see some fun kind of clips from that on the Instagram as well.
Amazing. That sounds exciting. On the podcast. On the podcast, what can people expect when they go to the podcast between you and Boo?
Oh my gosh. You can expect a lot of advice on how to make friends, on how to not make friends. You can expect many arguments between Michael and myself about how to do those things. We talk about The Bachelor sometimes. We've stopped doing that because this season is not that exciting, I have to say. I don't know if you've been watching. Do you watch? You watching?
I have been watching. It's not the most exciting. You know what I like? You know what I like when I watch The Bachelor? I like them getting in helicopters, and I like them going to fun resorts. I like finding out about country bands that I had no idea existed.
Yes.
And I like watching them at dinner refuse to eat the food.
You're not supposed to, allegedly.
I don't know.
People get in trouble for eating it. Well, you would, and then you would get sick. Like we said, we keep getting sick because we keep eating food we're not supposed to.
What's the food made out of? Marzipan?
Yes.
Like old
marzipan?
No,
what is marzipan? I don't even know what marzipan is. Is it cream?
It's close. It's like a creamy paste. That
doesn't sound appetizing at all. That sounds terrible.
Yeah. So I guess, you know what? I would be defiant if I found out that the steak and lobster in front of me on The Bachelor was just marzipan. I would eat it just to violate them.
And make a lot of eye contact while you kind of, anyway. You can expect no marzipan and comedy on the Boobs podcast.
And the animation of the very Vaginismus Christmas is when can we expect that out?
Soon.
Okay, great. Heck yeah.
I don't have any specifics. Hopefully in the next month or so. Before Christmas 2021 is definitely the plan. It's a very, it's a bare bones project. And so we are working hard to get it out, but we don't, we're paying for it ourselves.
Yeah.
We brought friends on. We have a lot of great voice actors on it, but we're doing it just the two of us, essentially. We brought on a team, but it's a small team. And so we're just trying to get it out, but it hopefully soon is the answer.
We're still in quarantine. We're still in lockdown. I still know a lot of people that have their Christmas tree up. So the people are celebrating year round.
Yes. Don't look too close. There are Christmas lights up over my shoulder, but don't look. They're not on. They're not on. So it doesn't count.
If they're not on, it's just ambience.
It took a lot of work to weave them in and out of the shelving. So I don't think I'm going to take them off. I'm just never going to turn them on until November.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of dusting myself. Okay, so we're gonna get into it. Rachel, you were born in Alaska, and your family is some of your family still lives there, and you visit frequently. Is that right?
That is correct. I was born there and raised there. My parents met there, and my uncle is still up there. He's the last of the Sassaras up in Alaska.
When you say, "Hey, I was born in Alaska," what's a typical response? Are people like, "Oh, are you an Eskimo? Is this freezing? Are the summer days literally 20 hours of sun?"
I feel like nobody knows what to say. It's usually, "Oh," and then I can see them thinking like Sarah Palin, Bears. Right. It's like that, and then they do go, "Is it always dark all the time, or is it always light all the time?" And then I say yes. And then that's the end of the conversation. Really.
You're like, I want to finish my beer. Quit talking to me.
You get it. I mean, no one knows anything about Alaska, so no one has any good questions. They just look at you like maybe you're an alien, and then that's it.
Well, the rest of this podcast will be for anybody who's curious about going to Alaska, and to get there, I think to get there from at least the lower 48. You got to go to an airport. So this is our first segment. What airport? Yeah.
What airport? Okay. First of all.
Yeah. What airport do you have to travel to?
Good job calling it the lower 48, because that's Alaskans are always calling it the lower 48. I don't know if it's a Florida thing too, but I'm just saying it's the lower 48. So good.
No, I didn't. The last thing I wanted to do was insult you talking about your native land.
Thank you.
So you refer to the continental United States as the lower 48, and
yes,
when you're saying stuff like the lower 48, it's like they don't. You're like cracking open a beer and you got the rest of your six pack in the snow, and you're saying to your buddy who's talking fish on the wall, yeah, them down in the lower 48, they don't got it figured out.
Exactly. That is exact. Yeah, I have my fish just off camera.
Okay,
he's sleeping, but yes.
Yeah, that's kind of like when you're using the lower 48, you're basically saying like, them. You know,
Yes.
do you feel like there's a big divide
Yes.
in between the two? What would you say it is?
I think the divide is Canada.
Geographically, I love
Geographically, it's Canada. Okay, airport.
Yes.
Airport that you fly into. I have only ever flown into Ted Stevens International, which is the main airport named for the senator.
Okay. Sounds like a chill airport.
It is pretty chill. Ted's airport is pretty cool. I mean, it's a decent airport. It's not that big. It's not what you think of when you think of airports, but it is like the main one.
Oh. Where's it located? What city?
It's in Anchorage.
Anchorage, okay.
And what I would say is the most exciting about that airport is that if you love taxidermied large animals, it is the place for you. You'll see some moose. You'll see some wolves. You'll see some bears. You'll see some mountain lions. Like the taxidermied animals everywhere in that airport. It is horrifying and so strange to fly into Alaska and just see like dead stuff staring at you. It's like what could kill you. It's just like a warning. It feels like a fair warning. These things are here. They will kill you if you don't look out.
That's fascinating, isn't it? Because anytime I think of or talk about taxidermy, I think about the Ace Ventura 2 scene. Are you familiar with that?
I am.
And it's either taxidermy is very off-putting or it's tastefully done.
Yes, it's either like,
right?
Ugh, like what is that tiny thing, or it's like majestic.
Right.
You're like caribou are so wonderful. Like look at that caribou.
How would you say they do it at the Alaska airport? Is it off-putting or is it lovely?
It's you know, I would call it's homey.
Oh, okay.
You know, you're like, oh, these are my friends. These are my friends. You're not grossed out because it's behind glass.
Oh, I see.
But it is a lot. It is a lot.
You're flying into it sounds like you're flying into a log cabin
yes,
owned by some guy named Ted.
Owned by Ted Stevens. Yes. Yeah, that's the vibe.
I'm being honest with you when I say in Orlando, there is a glass enclosure. This is real. Like, this is not, I'm stressing you, I'm not making this up. There is a glass cube. Inside that cube is a super hyper realistic sculpture of a tourist just sitting on the ground.
Of a tourist?
Look it up. It's a tourist. He's sitting on the ground and it looks so real. You will walk by. It's in between the Dunkin' Donuts by the pub inside the soccer pub inside the
how long has it been? You mentioned soccer. I'm
Orlando.
surprised you didn't mention soccer earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Inside the Orlando airport. It's by the Dunkin' Donuts next to the soccer pub and I think Hudson News. But it's literally a tourist sprawled out with his backpack, just with his things scattered, and it's very off-putting and it's scary.
That seems very. I don't like. It seems that seems like a warning. Also,
that's what we have.
Like the taxidermied animals are a warning, and also we're gonna kill you, you stupid tourist. So similar experiences between Ted Stevens and Florida Man Airport.
The way that you more or less the way that you describe the taxidermy is kind of the way that sometimes I find myself defending zoos. Like we wouldn't be able to be up close to these types of animals if it weren't for zoos. But in actuality, it's kind of a living graveyard. The taxidermy.
It is.
Imagine if we did that to people.
No, I won't imagine that. That is horrifying.
Go to bed with that.
I'm going to blow past that image and say no. Terrible. Either you're up close next to the dead animal or you're dead next to the live animal is kind of the situation with those specific ones, because all those animals will kill you.
Wow. That is incredibly profound.
Thank you.
Any advice, honestly, before we get into our next segment, any advice on dealing with any particular wildlife in Alaska or otherwise?
Well, a couple things come to mind here, Peter.
Yeah, please.
If you see a baby anything, like if you see a baby moose, if you see a baby bear, just look around and back away slowly, because usually there's the mom and she's trying to murder you. So don't go. There are a lot of stories of all of us as kids, like being way too close to baby animals. I'm pretty sure my mom has a story of us being out at my grandparents' cabin, which was like out in the middle of nowhere.
Tell me what happened.
There was a baby bear, and we were out just kind of in the gravel, and the baby bear was nearby, and we started kind of like interacting with the baby bear. And I was like no years old. Like I was like 2 maybe. And I think my brother was there as well. And my mom just kind of walked out, picked us both up, and then walked us back inside. And then the mama bear came like a minute later and walked up, and they took off. But that was just almost a story of how there were no more kids. Just very close to having no more Sassaras, because we're really it. So
wow. Is that the key to approach the way your mother did, which was very calmly in an unpanicked way?
Yeah, if you see a baby thing and you're near it, if you start to freak out and make a lot of like noise, the mama bear or whatever is going to see that as threatening. So you have to be calm, you have to back away, and fear the moose also. Moose are not nice. They are not nice, and they're extremely territorial and hormonal. They are moose are the women of the animal kingdom, territorial and hormonal. You never know when they're going to come for you, and they will murder you.
Wow. Well, let's go to a lighter note. But just that is good to know about the moose. My first Beanie Baby was the moose Beanie Baby.
That's nice.
Yeah, and then he had orange antlers.
That's real.
They have orange antlers?
Yes.
No,
known fact. Nobody knows this, but it's true.
I heard. Okay, yeah, I heard. Now that I'm trying, I can't picture a moose, but I heard that they have orange antlers and they taste like vanilla ice cream. Is that true?
It's actually it's creamsicle type. It's like orange creamsicle, but very close. That's it.
All right. Well, very interesting that you mentioned orange creamsicle, because the next section is headlines. Welcome to this segment, headlines. And in this headline segment, it's a fan favorite. I'll read a headline and we'll determine whether or not it happened. We'll guess whether it happened in Alaska or it happened in Florida through rounds of guessing. The first round we'll guess why, or we'll say why it happened. Second round we'll say why not, and then the third round you'll guess.
Okay.
So Rachel, would you like to put any stakes on this? Would you like to wager anything?
Okay. Well, are we wagering on like best 2 out of 3?
Just one headline.
One headline?
A single headline, yeah. And you'll be the only one guessing because I know the answer.
Oh, okay. Great. I will wager $2.
Oh. If you get it.
Got paid Friday. If I get it right, obviously, I'm not betting against myself. You owe me $2 if I get it right. And if I get it wrong, I'll send you $2.
Okay. Deal. $2 bill, y'all. Shout out to Limp Bizkit.
I do have $2 bills still.
Heck yeah. Today's headline is this.
Okay.
This state, based on the most recent data, it was found out that this state eats more ice cream per capita than any other state. Now, maybe you're talking your moose tracks there, or you're talking your, creamsicle antlers,
I see the connection. Okay.
But per capita, this state eats more ice cream than any other state. Now, go ahead and let's talk about why you believe that could be Alaska.
Could be Alaska?
Yeah, why could that be Alaska?
I would say it could be Alaska because you're saying per capita, which is really making me think, because there are not a lot of people in Alaska, and I'm sure there's still a lot of ice cream. And if you're in Alaska, either you are out hunting, doing kind of like crazy shit all the time, or you're at home, you're fat as hell, and you're eating ice cream, and you're smoking cigarettes, and you're yelling about the natives. So,
but you eat ice cream despite the. Does it snow all the time there?
Doesn't snow all the time.
Okay.
It snows in the winter. Winter is long, but in the summer it gets hot and it stays light for a long time. And one of the activities that you do is you do go out and you end up camping more, or just have like hanging out with your neighbors late at night when it's like full daytime out, and it's fun to eat ice cream. And I remember eating a crap ton of ice cream as a kid. So I'm going to say I actually truly believe it's possible Alaska could eat the most ice cream per capita.
How late are we talking? Like full sun at 10 p.m. at night?
Not like full sun. In the like.
Is this a solstice?
Dead of summer?
What am I thinking of? Or what's the proper name of this? Summer season.
Just summer. Summer is the season. But I would say that when it's like dead summer, it won't be like full sun at night, but it'll be dusk all the time. Like what you would see as dusk. It's like that 24/7, and then it will get bright during the day.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The reason why I think this is Florida is, you know why? We're the roller coaster amusement park capital of the world, and one of those things that you get at Disney, you get a Mickey Mouse ice cream cone, or also it's hot and humid there like crazy, and summer essentially lasts 10 months.
Yes.
It's, there's a windy January and February where I grew up in Southwest Florida. And then there's a very, very windy hurricane season, but it's still hot then. The wind mixed with the humidity. That's how hurricanes are made. That's science.
I believe you. I don't know how hurricanes are made.
When humidity loves wind, they come together and they form a little baby tropical storm.
That's cute.
Yeah, it's very cute.
That's nice.
So there's tourists, and they're overindulging, ice cream, sweets, desserts, walking around in their cargo shorts, driving their car, eating an ice cream cone.
I hear you on that, but I'm going to counter again with, even in the winter, it's so dark and so depressing. Alaska is dark for so long during the winter that there is only one way to feel better, and that is drink and eat ice cream.
And the ice cream's a pick-me-up.
Ice cream's a pick-me-up. People like ice cream when they're sad. So I'm going to say it's still pretty fucking likely that it could be Alaska. Because what else are you going to
do? When your options are smoke a cigarette, go fishing in your front yard, eat some ice cream, go face-to-face with a moose, what are you going to do?
You're going to eat ice cream, Peter.
All right. So for this next round, regale me as to why you think that it might not be Alaska.
Okay.
And why wouldn't it be?
Okay. It wouldn't be Alaska because it's fucking freezing all the time. And in the winter, all you do is eat whatever meat that you've stored in your freezer. There is no room for ice cream in the meat freezer.
Oh, good point. At what point do you have to start storing meat? And what's that practice like for people that don't have to do something like that?
Well, you kill your first animal at age 2 and you start contributing to the family. No, I mean, people that like homestead, well, yeah, that's like what the summer is. It's just like getting shit ready, salting it up, putting it over in a corner and getting ready to eat it later. So as soon as hunting season starts, I would say.
How long is hunting season? Do you recall?
All year round if you're not a pussy.
Do you have any like young memories of going hunting?
I didn't really hunt too much. My dad and my uncle did, and my grandpa did. I do have memories of like going out and just like shooting guns, and there are a bunch of like epic pictures of my dad and my uncle with like huge moose with shotguns at like 19, which is crazy. But I didn't get into the hunting thing quite as much.
What does the moose taste like?
I don't know if we ever ate the moose. I don't think that was the point of that one. Caribou, you would eat. And I don't, like an animal. They just tasted like, you would not be like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm eating this like cute reindeer. It just, it tastes like caribou.
Right. Yeah. And then it's haunting you, staring at you when you put it on your wall.
Yeah, you have to make eye contact.
Out of respect.
With the head of the animal. Yeah. It's a circle of life.
If I did that, I would walk by if I mounted a deer or whatever, a cow. I would look past it, and I just know myself. I would say that was a good dinner. That's all I'd be able to think about.
I have no qualms about looking an animal in the eye and being like, I'm gonna eat you. I don't care. I am not a vegetarian. To say the least.
Hell yeah. Okay, so why is this not happening in Florida? I think there's this air about Florida right now, and I'm talking contemporarily, that nobody wants to be cliche in Florida. No, like everyone's trying not to be cliche. And that's why they're like the natives or people that live there, not the tourists. When you say natives, you're talking about the people.
I'm talking about native Alaskans, Inuits, Eskimos. Yeah. Yes.
When I'm talking about Florida natives, I'm talking about guys running from the law, driving down.
You're talking about Florida man. Yeah, you're talking. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I know. I know.
Yeah, exactly. And I just don't think they eat ice cream as much as they, they're like, this is so.
They just eat like lame. Crack raw, right?
They'll do it raw.
They eat crack raw and their old flip flops.
Now you got it.
That's the whole meal.
Exactly. And if I'm thinking about it, in the freezer, there is ice cream, but there haven't really been a lot of exciting innovations to ice cream since Dippin' Dots, if we're gonna be honest.
Florida only gets on board with stuff if it's an exciting innovation. They're only like, okay, whoa, is this disrupting the market? If it's not disrupting the market, we want no part of it.
All of my reasoning is lame in this round because I believe heavily that it is Florida. So okay, round 3, the $2 are on the line. Rachel, this state eats more ice cream per capita than any other state. What is your guess?
Alaska. I'm doing it. I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with my guns.
That's your final answer?
That's my final answer.
According to 2017 data, Alaska eats more ice cream per capita than any other state. It's the depression. It's seasonal depression food. It's the depression food. Do you have a favorite type of ice cream?
I'm a mint chip lady myself.
Oh yeah, that's the way to go.
Yeah. You owe me $2.
I do. I'll Venmo you. I'll Venmo you a two spot. Or I'm
excited.
Or if I come across a $2 bill, it's coming your way.
I'll accept either payment.
I'll write your name on it and stick it to a flagpole or something.
Fantastic. Thank you.
There used to be a really cool bar in LA where you could pay for a drink and say, no, I don't want it right now. And then go to their chalkboard and write someone's name on it on the chalkboard and say, I'm Peter. I bought a beer for Rachel. Isn't that neat?
Oh, that's so nice. Human connection.
When you, the last couple of times that you visited Alaska, did you, pre-pandemic, obviously, what would you say the bar scene is like around, some of the cities?
I love Alaska drinking. It's my favorite. It feels so homey. Yeah, I mean, there's a big beer scene in Alaska. It's a lot of breweries. So usually you just end up going to a tap room and eating burgers and drinking beer. You're going to see a lot of flannels. And you're going to see a lot of dogs. Everyone brings their dogs. It's so nice, dude. That's
a big brewery thing, isn't it?
Yeah. A lot of outdoor stuff. Yeah. So it's just, kids, dogs, flannels, beards, and mustaches, and smelly people that just got off the mountain. That's kind of what it's like to drink in Alaska. But
it's just chill and it's happening all the time. Is there an unacceptable, because of the way winter is, you're talking about depression. You're talking about how the sun stays out in the summer. Would anybody look at you twice if you're cracking open a beer at like 11 a.m.?
I mean, it depends on where you are, I would say. If you're at your kid's school, there might be some weirdness around that. But no, I mean, like people get up and like they'll start skiing at like 5 a.m. and you like get off the mountain early and you just start drinking. Or you just like have a beer with your lunch. And it's not, I mean, if you're like, getting shit faced, then, someone might tell you, hey, like cool it. We got stuff to do later and there are people around. But
yeah. Are people friendly like that? Like if you go to a bar, would you expect to meet a stranger?
Every time I have been up to Alaska visiting since I have been of legal drinking age, I never drank underage, Peter. That's something people don't know about me. I was very good.
Wow. You're the only guest I've ever had on this podcast that has never had an illegal drink.
Not once in my life.
Yeah. But you're the first liar that I've ever had.
Yeah. Huge liar. No, yeah. Every time I've gone up and been at a bar, like a restaurant, I think honestly, every time I have like met someone and chatted with them. And a lot of that has to do with my family because my grandpa was a congressman. And my uncle is very involved in just like Alaskan life. And he's like a very respected mountaineer and has worked to like build homes and all this. And so my family is actually like, they're sort of known in certain communities in Alaska. So usually when we go somewhere, someone would either like recognize my grandpa or my dad would know someone from high school. I mean, it's a very small, it's a small state population wise. So everyone knows each other. I once ran into, when I was up in a place called Talkeetna, which is at the base of Denali, which is way up, doesn't matter where it is, but it is not near Anchorage. I was up there with my grandpa and my uncle.
Where would you say, where is this? Is this like north, east, west?
It's north. It's north,
further
pretty
north,
far,
okay.
like a few hours. And
towards Russia.
I was like eating, it's basically Russia. And I was eating lunch with my uncle and I look across and I saw this guy and I was like, I know this guy from somewhere. And I yelled out without thinking about it. And it ended up being my professor from college when I was going to school in Colorado, who had just come off the mountain and just so happened to be walking across the street at that time. Like it really just attracts a certain type of person.
Yeah.
Like
wow.
Alaska, Colorado. Anyway, that's not really related to making friends at bars, but that just popped in my head as like one of the weirdest
That's fantastic
to run into. But
you never know who you're going to meet. And it sounds like the energy that you bring into a situation is reciprocated back. And most people up there are friendly.
Yeah. If people, I mean, not everybody's friendly. I would say the unfriendly ones are extremely unfriendly, but mostly everybody's friendly.
Oh, and you could pretty much tell, based on that. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. Well, I can't wait to go drinking in Alaska. Before I get you out of here, Rachel, one last thing, one good thing. It's our final segment. If I end up visiting Alaska or any of our listeners find themselves in Alaska, what's one thing that they should know, do, and be privy to or check out?
If you go to Alaska, the most important thing to do is to drive all the way up to Girdwood, which is at Alyeska. And you drive up the turning arm. Alyeska. It's a mountain called Alyeska.
Alyeska, Alaska?
Alyeska. 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 It's a resort. And everybody skis there. It's a cool spot.
It sounds like a surfer bro saying Alaska.
Alyeska. But it's really cool. And the drive up is really beautiful. You drive along the Turnagain Arm and you see like a bunch of glaciers and it's nice. So you go there. You go up the gondola, you do whatever, do some touristy stuff, and then you have to go to the Double Muskie Inn, which is a small, it's a small restaurant that's been there forever, and they have the best pepper steak in the world. Like it's amazing and perfect. It's this crazy place, and it looks like you've been dropped sort of in like the bayou of Alaska, if that makes any sense. It's like a very strange vibe in there. If there's one classic.
When you say the Alaskan Bayou, there's one thing that I've definitely learned on this podcast, chatting with people from across the country. There are rednecks everywhere.
Yes, there are, especially in Alaska. Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I mean, everything we're talking about, fits the redneck lifestyle. Hunting, mounting, freezing things, depression, gay sex,
Yeah, I remember talking about that.
It's all redneck
stuff. But you got to go to the Double Muskie. It's like this it's a tradition. We go every time we're there. It's fucking amazing.
Before we get out, any tips on fitting in, if you're in New York City, you don't want to look up at the buildings. If you're in Alaska, what's that version? Is it
don't fall.
Be afraid? Oh, don't fall.
Yeah.
Wear proper shoes.
Wear proper shoes.
Oh,
Bring two pairs of shoes. Bring like truly bring like a pair of hiking shoes and then something more comfortable. Because when someone says, do you want to go for a walk? Or like, do you want to go for a bike ride or something? They mean like, do you want to go on a 3-hour hike? And do you want to go on like a 7-hour mountain biking trip? Like it is insane. You will die. Just be ready. Work out before you go.
Intense. Yeah, work out before you go. Bring shoe options.
Yes.
And dial up Rachael Sassara because she knows everything you need to know about Alaska. Rachel, thank you so much for joining me today on the podcast.
This was super fun. Thanks, Peter. I learned a lot about Florida. I'm never going.
No need to. You got all the ice cream and dead animals up in
and gay sex that you could ever want up in Alaska.
That's right.
Alaska.
So Floridians, stick tight. Don't go anywhere. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.